all I can think of is like, how am I going to get Jared? How am I going to carry him? How am I going to drag his body out? So I watched as you went from walking to running to tumbling.
Jared ripped his pants!
How am I going to tell his family? Oh my God, everything was going through my head at that time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Episode 6 of the Yuba Probation Podcast. I'm Senior Deputy Probation Officer Jared Reed, and this month I'm very happy to have Supervising Deputy Probation Officer Lara and Deputy Probation Officer Ryan Landis here with me to talk a little bit about what they do for the Yuba County Probation Department. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How you
doing?
Doing fantastic. Most people who are familiar with our department know that we record the episodes at the Team Center, which is kitty corner from the main courthouse where the majority of the probation officers are housed. And it's where you guys are stationed and located. So thank you to start for letting us invade your facilities once a month so that I can come in here and move all the furniture around and we can have the podcast. But I'd like to know more about what the Team Center is, what it does, kind of its goals and its place in the process of probation, and I think probably to start off with Ryan. Tell us about the Team Center.
Oh, the Team Center, obviously you said it's the building we're in right now. This is where we have the majority of our programming for our adult clients. We have a diploma program here that's actually very good. We have our 4 recovering families, our batterers treatment program, multiple classes like emotional intelligence, courage to change. There's a lot going on. I know I'm forgetting some of it, but we always have stuff going on here.
Okay. Monica, how does having all of the adult programs located in one spot benefit our clients?
I feel it benefits our clients immensely having it all here because they don't have to bounce around to different buildings, different areas of the county, have to keep, bus here, bus there, where they can get all the services that they need here at one time. Of course, it's not in one trip. We have different classes on different days, but they just come right here. And I think that is super beneficial for them.
Making it a one-stop shop is the word I was looking for there. Take some of the burden away from them and makes them be more successful.
Absolutely.
So for those that aren't heavily involved in the criminal justice system, they may not know that not all classes are specifically ordered by the court. There are definitely mandated by law classes that some people have to take depending upon the offense that they're convicted for. But we make referrals to classes. And Ryan, I'd like you to talk a little bit. How do we decide what classes people will take?
So, I have the caseload out here that's at the Team Center. But in addition to that, I'm also doing our intake caseload for our PRCS clients. So when these guys are coming straight out of prison, I sit down with them. I go over their reports. I see what needs they might have. I run them through our Noble system, and it just determines, through their history, through their charges, through what they might need, what would benefit them. So at that point, I have a discussion with them. I say, I think you can benefit from these classes, and depending on what it is, I said, this is what this can provide. And our whole goal is to reduce the recidivism. So I just tell them, this is the plan I'd have, and I'd really like them to buy into it.
It's important to have some early interventions and recognizing that. Do we use any specific tools to help us with that?
Well, the Noble system is the biggest one we use. I mean, other than that, we do hand them the flyer and see if there's anything that would be interested because obviously a computer system might not catch everything.
Okay. There's still a little bit to be said for a probation officer's abilities to work with a client and kind of explore deeper and know more, right?
Absolutely. Okay. I think they have a lot of discretion to see just beyond about what the assessment, sort of spits out. And the assessment tool that lays out what the criminogenic needs are is something that they use to work with the client, collaborate with the client to be able to refer them to the proper service. Before back in the day, we would sort of guess, okay, this person needs help with anger management. This person may need help with the parenting, right? Mm-hmm. But now we actually have a tool that helps us, pinpoint it a little bit better, but still have that discretionary to, where maybe the top 3, but it's number 4 that they need to address first. And I believe that tool is really helpful, not only for the probation officer to help guide better for the referral system, but also for the client that they are receiving the services that they do need.
That's not going to stop the random stuff from coming up. Like we just had our second food handlers class where our clients were able to come in and they were able to obtain a certificate to go be a better applicant for one of the restaurants that's hiring. So somebody can come in and see the flyer and be like, hey, I've always wanted to work at, any of the restaurants close by. And we say, yeah, we'll pay for it. This is your leg up on that.
It's truly amazing the amount of services and classes and offerings that we do provide out here at the Team Center. Team Center is an acronym. Do one of you guys want to share the acronym?
It stands for Together Everyone Achieves More.
Right. Which is definitely, a mission of our department is that we all work together and treat each other well. But it's not just our department that provides services out here at the Team Center. Talk a little bit about the partner agencies that we have here.
Sure. So we partner, as Ryan mentioned, our diploma program, our Second Chance Diploma. We partner with Yuba County Office of Education, and they provide us with an instructor, a teacher, who helps our clients achieve their goal of wanting to obtain their high school diploma. So we have several clients who, for whatever reason, didn't graduate, didn't complete what they needed to when they were in high school, and this is their chance to get that diploma. And so we contract through Yuba County Office of Education, and Dan McAllister, he's just a wonderful teacher out here and works really great with our clients, and they really like him, and he really helps them achieve that goal. Another entity that we contract with is Sacramento County Office of Education through the CDCR. And so they're sort of like the middle person between us and CDCR. But through them, we have a transition specialist that is out here also providing additional services, and they facilitate additional groups that we did not have before. And in exchange, we are now providing services here for parole. People on parole, which was a service that wasn't here before. So with a lot of people on parole and us not having an office here, they'd have to go seek services in Auburn and Chico and Sacramento. And so now with this contract, they're able to get these services here that they desperately need. And so removing that obstacle, the transportation of having to leave this area, I think has been a huge benefit for them as well. A new entity that we have just started a contract with is Peachtree. So we are going to be having a therapist here through Peachtree Clinic, here stationed to provide mental health services and other services that they provide through the clinic here for our clients as well.
We also have One Stop that comes out here every week, and I forgot to mention them earlier. They come out, see our clients regularly, try to get them jobs. I mean, they are just a couple blocks down the road, but they just want to assist in that, hey, you can come here, we can help you out all in one spot.
The ability to offer so many services in one spot helps a client feel more comfortable. What are some other things that we're doing out here at the Team Center that are, in my opinion, very creative things to try to get people more comfortable here and want to come through the door and come back for programming?
Well, the recent thing we just started was our coffee station. Clients can come in. Some of our classes are early in the morning, and it kind of helps them wake up and be more alert for it. We also started serving yogurt, fresh fruit. We have cold water now, which was a lot better in the summertime. There's snacks out here, just stuff to make it a more home environment. We have a TV going, normally the Food Network or the History Channel. I just can't think of anything else. That's a lot, but we get nothing but compliments from it.
Actually, the one additional thing that we also do as an incentive to our clients we have a monthly raffle. And so every time they attend a class, a program, they get a raffle ticket at the end. And at the end of each month, we raffle a prize. And the prize varies. We get donated through Sacramento County Office of Education bicycles. So when we get those donated, those are what we raffle. Sometimes it's a backpack with a gift certificate, depending on just what we have for that month. That's one of the things that we do. And our clients actually really look forward to that.
Yes,
most of them are like, if it's like the end of the month, because we raffle it at the end of the month, they're like, should we stay around for the raffle? And and it's like, okay, yeah. Sometimes it's the reminder, like we need to do the raffle today. And so we know that clients really look forward to that. They look forward to the snacks. They look forward to the coffee. It's a simple Keurig that we have, and some of our clients are like, okay, how do we work this? And it's like, let me brew a coffee for you while I show you how to do it. And so it's actually been really received well by our clients, and I think it is helping getting them through the door and knowing that they couldn't come in here, feel a little bit more at ease and feel comfortable that they have these things for them.
Yeah, I was actually taking a look at the coffee station prior to recording and thought to myself, this is like a waffle maker away from a very decent continental breakfast. A waffle maker would be fantastic. I may never leave if you get a waffle maker, though. So.
I don't know that we can fit anything else on that table, though.
No, we're going to need another one. There's always larger tables. So it's very exciting things out here that we got going on. Let's talk a little bit, though, about what brought you guys to probation to start with. And I'd start with you, Monica. How long ago did you come to probation? What brought you to probation, the field, and then to Yuba County probation?
So what brought me out here to probation, gosh, I've been here 25 years. And what brought me out here, I think, was definitely fate. Because it was not planned. There's a lot of people, they go to college, they already know what they want to do, what they want to be, and that was not me. It was more, I graduated from college and like, oh no, what now? And happened to see a position out here for victim services and came out and applied for it, and it's just been history since. Started out there, working with the probation officers, and that definitely interested me, and now it's history. It's like I've been here since.
You said you started with victim services.
Absolutely. I was a victim advocate for a couple of years before applying for the probation officer position. But I really did not know much about probation prior to even working with victim services. Like, that wasn't even a thought in my head of, I want to go be a probation officer. When I applied for the victim services position, it was just for that, to work with victims of crime.
All right. That's definitely quite the transition to go from victim services to probation officer. And it's, a lot of overlap there, but it definitely give you a much broader picture of just everything related to the courts and the criminal justice system and that other side. What I know of you is that you have amazing empathy for the victims that we serve, and just in general, I'm sure that probably suited you quite well out there at Victim Services.
Oh, absolutely. It was definitely one of those jobs that you start and you immediately wow, this is really rewarding. And to be able to go and help people and be there for people and, go through the court process with them, help them get the compensation, and doing all that for them and seeing that you're helping them firsthand. And it was really incredible, and of course, a lot of the awful things that victims have to go through to be a victim, and to just be there and have, the support for them was just amazing in itself as well.
I definitely could see where you would be suited for that job, though. I'm very excited to see you as the deputy probation officer, now supervising deputy probation officer for the last few years. What advice would you give someone who is interested in getting into the probation field?
Talk to somebody in the field. And Ryan and I were just talking about this earlier, how our field has changed so much. It's our probation now in California isn't what it was 25 years ago, and so there's been a lot of shift, a lot of change. And first of all, even back then, people didn't even realize what probation was. Anytime I'm like, oh, I'm a probation officer, right? 25 years ago, it was like, oh, so you supervise people coming out of prison, or you work with juveniles. It was so just one area that people thought we did. And of course, we don't. And now it's even much more. And so I think people need to talk to somebody in the field, go take a tour of the place, talk to people that work there, to see if it's what you really want to do. It's a very rewarding job and a very rewarding career. But if you're not looking to helping people and rehabilitating people and working with people multiple chances, then this isn't the field for you. It's it's a great career, but there's also, a lot of writing, which isn't bad. Some people really dig that, right? And so most people don't know how much writing we do in our court reports and, all the services we provide, not just to a juvenile, but to a family, not just to a probation adult client, but to the family, and how, the extension that goes to. And I think people who really could flourish in this kind of field, this is the field for you. But a lot of people don't realize a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff that we actually do in our field. And so that would be my advice, is go talk to somebody. Don't just go to school, get a criminal justice degree and say, I want to be a probation officer, but see what it's about first. Internships are really great.
Internships are great. I think that was probably the greatest answer to that question, because the entire time I was thinking to myself, people really, truly don't understand what probation is. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have an idea, and some people, they can be on both sides of the spectrum. They think that, all we do is provide programs, and they don't understand there's an enforcement component. Or they think that all we do all day is go out and do enforcement.
Yes.
And, Yuba County Probation, I think, does a really excellent job of hitting towards the middle. We have definitely our enforcement piece, and we provide superior programs to help people no longer need to have a probation officer ever again. So one of the greatest joys I have is when I look at people that are about to be off probation, I go, hey, listen, you see me, come say hi. But in all seriousness, if I never see you again, that's not a bad thing, because that means that you didn't come back through the doors here. Always welcome people to come shake my hand, but if they don't want to, they don't have to, because they don't ever have to talk to a probation officer again. Ryan, when did you come to probation, and what brought you here?
I came to probation about 4 years ago. Before that, I have almost 11 years in the Yuba County Jail, so I didn't make it too far, just right across the street. I kind of fell into law enforcement. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did some college, and it was when I got up to the courts as a bailiff. I started finishing up my degree. I'm like, I met some probation officers. I listened to Matt Riccardi when he was up on the stand testifying, talking about how well the probation office did. And talking to several probation officers about the environment here, it seemed like something I really wanted to get into. So I did exactly what Monica's saying to do. I went and I talked, and I went on a ride along. One day I just spent 8 hours here with everybody trying to figure out what we did. I thought I had a good idea. Then I got hired, and I realized that was the very tip of the iceberg. I also teach out at Yuba College, and some people ask me, hey, what's your day to day? I'm like, I can't tell you. Like one day we're knocking on a door to serve a warrant, and the next day we're reading books over to school. We don't know. It's anything we can do to make our community better. So it's been a fun road so far.
And do you have any specific advice for someone who want to get interested other than what Monica added, or do you just want to?
Everything Monica said, and I'd also add, really watch these podcasts and look at our Facebook page and just see everything we're about. This isn't stuff we're putting up just as a front. This is who we are.
It's an amazing plug. I also recommend that everyone go back and watch the podcast. I enjoy watching the little numbers on the YouTube videos go up. Brings me just a little bit of joy. I'm not gonna lie. Ryan, you touched on something that I think is very important, and I'm gonna let you answer this question first. What's special about our culture here at the probation department?
The family environment is absolutely huge. A lot of departments will preach, we're family oriented. That's the best seller. Hey, family oriented. I absolutely feel that here. I come in, people know everything going on in my life, what my kids are doing, like how well their team did the night before, and I know the same thing about them. That's from the chief on down. I mean, one of the most inspiring things when I was first here is the chief calls me in this office. Been here about a month or two. And he's like, well, how's it going? And I start talking about my caseload. And he's like, no. I don't care about any of that. What's going on at home? Like, what are your kids doing? What are they into? And we had a 30-minute conversation just about me as a person, which I've never been able to sit down with anybody at that high a level and do that. So it's absolutely amazing. And like I said, that starts to trickle down. And that's the culture we have. We are a family. We have sometimes we might not get along, we might make fun of each other a little bit, but at the end of the day, we all have each other's back.
Just a little bit. We make fun of each other just a little bit. Just a little bit. For those that don't know, Ryan's a bit of a jokester, but it's okay.
No.
Yeah, just a little bit. Monica, your turn. What's special about the culture here?
Well, I'd have to agree with Ryan that number one is the family environment. It's not just talked about. It's actually, it's not just a saying. It's a do. And we do look out for each other, and we do care about each other. And when we need to take care of our families do come first. And so it's something that, our chief, Jim, talks about. But like I said, it's something that where if something's going on, with your family, you got to take care of your family first. How are you going to be able to function here, if something's not going good at home or something, or, you're going through hard times or and so, but it's something that I've seen over and over actually happen where, okay, go take care of your family. Okay, go do this, and not to say that our work isn't important or that we don't get our work done, because somebody else will come in and help out with that. And that's the support that Ryan was talking about. And it's like, we're all going to have each other's backs. We're all going to be here for that. And it is not like anywhere else. And I can speak from experience that, I did work for a short period of time in another department, and nothing, not that it was bad there, it was just not here. It wasn't like here. And I was really expecting to go over there and making it work like it did here. And I couldn't. I ended up missing the people here so much. And it was one of those things where my husband was telling me, hey, it's just hanging a little bit more. You probably haven't given it enough time. 1 month passed, 2 months passed. And it's just like, I'm still like, I'm missing something, like a huge, piece of me. And by the 8th month, I'm like, I'm done. I have to go back. And, I did. I came back, and it was, I felt like I came home, and it was just like 8 months hadn't even gone by. It was just like I picked off like from yesterday. And so I was, again, very well received, and I haven't left since, and so it's just something that is practiced here. And I just can't say enough of that, because it does come from the top down.
I remember you telling me the story of you going to a different county and ultimately choosing coming back when I was maybe a year into being a probation officer, 2 years. We were in juveniles together the first time that I was in juveniles. And I remember after hearing that story thinking to myself, man, that's really cool. Like, lots of people leave jobs all the time. But for someone to like leave a department and miss it that much, because I remember you telling me there were aspects about particularly like the location at the time.
Yes.
Like, that were more convenient for what you had going on in life then.
Yes, I didn't leave because I wanted to. There was this huge commute at that point. Yeah.
And to come back and really does speak to how good we have it here culture-wise as a family. Because I agree with you guys. There's lots of places that don't get an opportunity to go sit in the chief's office and talk for 30 minutes, and they don't care about, maybe they do care, they don't take the opportunity to get to know the officers the way like our chief and management does from the top down. And our management cares so much. And Ryan, this is going to fall on you to explain majority of it. They've initiated, supported, and brought in a peer support program. And I know that you're on the peer support advisory panel, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell the whole world more about peer support and how important it is for us here at the department.
Peer support's one of my favorite things that this department's been supportive of. From this side, it was James Morales and I, and we have a couple from the Sheriff's Department too. We created a tri-department program. I know there's a better term for that, but I can't come up with it.
It's pretty good.
Us,
pretty good, yeah.
The Sheriff's Department, and the DA's office. And we've all been through specialized training just to support officers, because we're in the thick of it with each other. There's nobody else that's going to understand what we're going through other than the officers with us. Some of us have branched out from that, and we do our critical incident stress management. So when a significant event happens that either us, the Sheriff's Department, or the DA has to respond to, something that's going to could potentially cause severe trauma later, we're trying to nip that in the bud right away. Like, let's get you out. Let's talk about it. Let's see what resources we have. Let's, take care of this right now before it comes up later and it makes you not be able to function.
Yeah, peer support is definitely the coolest thing I think that's probably happened in the last few years locally for local law enforcement, to have that avenue to mitigate some of the trauma, because it's a very challenging job definitely for sheriffs and street cops at the police department. But a lot of people don't think about some of the stuff us probation officers go through, being out in the field and dealing with some of the cases, and the repeated having to talk about trauma with victims when we're writing court reports and stuff like that. So, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The department supporting that's been huge. I think it's had quite an impact.
Oh, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be just, field related. You and I can just sit down and talk about what's going on with your family. Stuff that stays completely confidential, and it's become such a big part of the law enforcement culture that there's actually, Senate bills and all that, assembly bills protecting the privacy of all this, just to make sure officers are well. Because, before that, what was the solution? You drank yourself to the end of your career and hoped it didn't come up.
Right.
We're trying to stop this before it happens.
Just kind of eat it and move on.
Yep.
I've heard that from a few. My dad was in law enforcement, so I've heard that from a few grizzly veterans, if you will. They're like, "You guys talk about that stuff now?
Yeah,
we just went to work the next day." Yeah.
The worst thing you can ever say is "I'm fine" when you're not fine.
Yeah,
and we try to tell them it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. No, I admit you guys have I've already said it multiple times, but I'll echo it again. You know, that family feeling that I got this going on. The department does a really good job being like, go take care of your family. Yep. Take care of yourself. You know, peer support lends into that. Given that we do deal with some trauma and got some very challenging jobs, what do you guys do outside of work to de-stress, unwind?
I don't know about de-stress or unwind, but I volunteer for a Little League board.
Yeah, that's definitely not de-stressing.
I mean, honestly, I look forward to something breaking in my house because at least it's a problem I can take care of right then and there. But, you know, it's all about being out in the community and supporting and helping kids learn a skill. And who knows, maybe they'll take that skill, advance to the next level, and it's what gets them through college. I mean, that's my hope, at least once or twice, preferably with my kids. Others would be great too.
All right, hoping for that scholarship. And Monica, what do you do for fun outside of work?
I do a lot of family things with my kids, my sisters, my parents. I swear there's always something going on, birthdays or anniversaries or, you know, games. I got both my kids now in basketball, and so love going to see them play. They don't like to play like, you know, like competitive, so they're like in the leagues and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's just fun. It's fun going to watch them. And, you know, we have our little routine on Fridays. We watch them afterwards. We go eat, we go get dessert, we come home, you know, and so that family time just helps me relieve the stress. Of course, self-care, you know, vacations here and there are, you know, very, very helpful. Last year, our entire family went to Cancun. There were like 14 of us that went to Cancun, and wow, that was a fun plane ride. And then even more funner at the resort. But, you know, in doing things like that together, and where we are taking care of each other, and I'm with my family and just that time away from here, you know, and to be able to sort of, you know, recharge and come back and be ready, you know, for work again. I have my group of girlfriends, you know, we go on a yearly girls trip, and that's always fun. No husband, no kids, and so it's a time to really relax and distress. And so we go and hit different parts every year, and so little things like that, I think, make a huge difference when we're especially talking about self-care and taking care of yourself, you know. So to be able to come in and move on, you know, with what we do.
All right. We're running towards the 30-minute mark, which is what we're aiming for. Okay. But before we go, Monica, I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell the story of the time you pushed me down a hill.
Jared pushed himself. So we were out doing perimeter, looking for somebody at the time. We were on one side of the levee, and it was time to wrap it up. And Jared said, okay, we were going to go regroup with the rest of the group, and you decided that there was a shortcut we should take on a steep levee like this. And I said, Jared, no. And you're like, yeah, no, come on, let's do this, Monica. And I'm like, Jared, that looks really steep. I think I would fall down. And you said, well, watch me go down first, and maybe once you see me go down the hill, then maybe you'll go down the hill and you'll be okay. I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea. And you're like, watch. So I watched as you took the first couple of steps down that steep levee, and then went from walking to running to tumbling to up, sideways and up, and then reached the bottom, and you just laid there. So now I have to go down this levee after you, because at some point I think you're really severely injured. And so as I am sliding on my butt down the levee through thorns and rocks and stones, I know I was freaking out a little bit, and I think you have said that I screamed all the way down, and I probably did.
You screamed a lot.
Because I was really freaked out. You were so hurt, and it's only you and I out there. All I can think of is like, how am I going to get Jared? How am I going to carry him? How am I going to drag his body out? And how am I going to tell my boss? How am I going to tell his family? Oh my God, everything was going through my head at that time. But luckily, you were just laying there, and you were able to get up. And so, but yes, that was a lesson learned, because you don't listen. You did not listen to me. I suggested us to just take the longer route, the safer route. But no.
If it makes you feel better, I will officially say I shouldn't have listened to you that day. Also, if it makes you feel better, slight declines still give me PTSD, and that was like 8 years ago. It's the only time I've ever broken a bone in my body. And you leave out maybe one of the funnest parts of the story. It's a bit embarrassing for me, but for the sake of the quality of the story and the podcast episode, do you remember what you said when I asked you if my head was bleeding.
Yes, I do.
What'd you say?
So your head was bleeding, but I had already noticed, and I didn't know how to tell you, that your pants had ripped like in the front area, and yeah, because we were going to go back with the group. I was just trying to figure out how to tell you before we regroup with everybody else. But yes, and that's the moment I chose to tell you.
Oh, yeah. It was fair that you told me. It's when you told former supervising deputy probation officer who's retired and hopefully watching this YouTube episode, hey, Jared fell and he ripped his pants, and he proceeded to, Jared ripped his pants in front of, I don't know, 20 probation and sheriff's department employees. That's where it got extra awkward. Just a little extra awkward. In
all fairness, what I told him was, Jared fell down, he's hurt, and he does not want to seek medical attention, and he ripped his pants.
Yeah, he didn't hear any of that. Just Jared ripped his pants.
He just heard that you ripped your pants.
Yeah, they didn't order me to seek medical attention, which actually turned out to be a blessing, because it's the only time I've ever broken a bone. I broke my elbow doing that. So, I don't walk down levees anymore.
No. I don't think I've been down on the levee since then either.
So it's good.
It was traumatizing to watch.
That's good. Ryan, you got any fun field stories you want to share?
I can't top that. I mean, I know we're running out of time. One time we were approaching a house, and you opened up a bag and there was a grenade in there.
A freaking grenade.
It was a grenade.
So happy that was actually a semi-real grenade.
Yes, me too.
You were hoping it was Pez, don't lie.
Oh, I mean, it was a no-win situation. Either it was a real grenade and it was scary, or it was a fake grenade and we were going to make fun of you. So we chose it was semi-real, and we're still making fun of you.
Yeah, still make fun of me. It's fine. It's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you, Ryan and Monica, for coming on the podcast. I ask everyone out there who's enjoyed this podcast to please give it a like. Hit the subscribe button. You'll get notifications when new podcast episodes come out. This one will be released September 1st. Our next one should be released October 1st. I want to wish everyone a happy Labor Day. That'll be coming up right around the corner. And once again, thank you to my guests and everyone. You have a wonderful night.
Thank you.